Welcome back, and today I'm going to look at these Dulcitones. I haven't showed them on the channel for a while, but I have been doing a little bit of progress, so I thought I'd share what I've been up to. So I've got 4 of these instruments, and they've all got some of these tines missing or damaged. So the biggest question is, how do we repair them? How do we come up with a way of replacing these? So if we're looking at it's kind of like 5mm steel by about 8mm. And then we've also got like a spring at the end. So I think the easiest thing we would possibly do here is repair that spring. So after years of use, it seems like the higher notes get abused the most. And those springs actually fatigue and crack and break. Now, it's actually a rivet that's held it on. And rivets aren't that great for maintenance. So the only option I've really got here is to sand it off. So I've got an angle grinder with a sanding disc, and I quickly remove the rivet head. And then I need to actually use like a punch to punch the rivet out of the metal. Will we put rivets back in? I don't think so. I think that would be a nightmare. But what we can do is we can use a tap, and we can actually tap that for like an M3 hole. And that seems to fit quite nicely. And then we can just use like a small M3 bolt. We've still got to make a spring, but it looks like we've got a way of attaching the spring back to the tine, and that's going to be a big hurdle to overcome. So this is quite a hard metal. It's quite difficult to actually tap this. It took me a while to kind of get it going, but eventually we got it there. So some of these it wouldn't actually tap out, so we had to drill them out. So to make my own springs, I've got this reel of wire, and this is 0.6mm thick, and this is spring steel. Now the really interesting thing about this is it came annealed. Now that means it's in its soft state. So we can cut this, we can manufacture it, we can put it into a shape, and then we can kind of do a heat treatment, and it's going to change properties and turn into a spring. But at the minute it's really easy to bend. So I've cut with some tin snips, strips of this spring steel. I've drilled in holes in each end. And if you compare it to one of the springs, you can see it just holds its own shape. There's no way I can bend that back straight. If I do, it just snaps. So it seems like here, these are completely different metals. But I promise you, they're not. Watch this space. Also, if you look at it, you kind of get this rainbow colour and this discoloration, and that's a clue that it's been heat treated. But yeah, there's no way I can flatten that arch. But the annealed one, that just bends so easy. It's effortless. It's almost like butter. So what I've done is I've bolted on the spring into the tine. And then I've bent it into the right shape to give it the right height. So here's an old tine. You can kind of see the shape it's got. You can also see it's kind of got like a straw-like colour to it. So to harden it, we need to heat it up, kind of get this cherry red colour. And then we need to kind of drop it into some cool liquid. So you can use oil or water, you get different results with different liquids. It doesn't take very long at all, this process, but once it's done, the metal is changed. You've changed the grain structure of the metal, and it's completely different. This is much harder now. And you can see, it holds its shape. So the next question is, how do we make a replacement tine? Now I've been playing with so many different metals, but I think I've come up with something that works. Now the sad thing is, I haven't been able to get the metal in the size that I need, so it involves a little bit of cutting. But yeah, this bit seems to ring out quite nicely. So I've actually got something that's twice as thick as what I need. So I've had to bandsaw this into half thickness. This is quite annoying. I wish there was a simpler way, but I'm not making that many, so I guess it's okay for now. But yeah, I've got a special metal bandsaw blade, and that's allowed me to saw through this metal pretty quickly. I'm hoping after all this time that these actually work, especially on the really high notes. And then once I think I've got it long enough, I'm just going to turn the piece round and then run it into the bandsaw again. And this gives me two different tines that I can work with then. You can see my line isn't the straightest, but we will run this through the sander and that'll take out a lot of the wobbles. Yeah, you can see the wobbles here. It's not actually that bad, I feel. Feel free to argue and tell me I'm wrong. But as I say, we'll give it a quick sand and that should make it a lot better. So here I'm just heating it up, making it a little bit easier to bend. I don't think you actually need to do this. I've tried it bending it cold and hot and it seems to work both ways with this metal I've found. So what's special about this metal? This is a cold worked square bar. Now if you look, it's kind of got like a black coating on, and I think that's to do with how it's been, it's got a certain amount of carbon in it. Now that does allow it to kind of work hard and also be heat treated. But yeah, I've heated it up, I've given it a bend that's approximately about the right shape. So I'm hoping we get something close. So if I put it on one of these hooks, so if I put a leather strip on it, we can hit it and we can see how it rings out. Does it ring out? Now it does sound pretty quiet here, but I think once in the piano with a soundboard, it should sound a lot better. Watch this space, we'll see what it comes up with. So based on the tines that are around the missing tine, I've worked out where we need to attach the spring. So it's about here. And then we're just going to run a tap down it. And like before, we've got some of this annealed spring steel. I'm going to get some of that, cut it to about the right size, bolt it onto the tine, and then we can set it up for the right height. For the tuning, I'm going to worry about that later, but it is going to cause some issues, I predict. I'm going to find out how patient I really am. So one interesting thing here is it actually has a different resonant frequency when it's attached to the piano than when out the piano. So you have to put it in and out the piano to tune it. It is a bit of a pain, but that's what it is. But yeah, I'm just getting it roughly close. This is a little bit flat, so I'm just going to chop off some of the end, and that should raise the pitch. Or at least that's the dream anyway. If it was too low, we could actually sand the curved part, and that would reduce some of the stiffness in that region. So we can put it in the piano, and this is what it sounds like. And that sounds pretty good if you ask me. It's not, I reckon, I don't know, it's not too bad. Can you tell the difference? I think I'd struggle to. It sounds a lot better than no note. It's a little bit low, so we need to remove a bit more material off the end. Alright, that's a lot more closer. I think we've kind of created a tine here. I think we've kind of shown it's possible. So I'm going to carry on doing this. Also, I've been trying to regulate the action. I've been playing around with that, trying to get all the notes and hammers to move the same distance for the same force. It does take a lot of effort and a lot of patience, this. I have so much respect for piano tuners and piano technicians who do this as a job. I quite enjoy it as a hobby, but the patience required is pretty good. I'd much rather be making music, I think. But I don't know, I enjoy it. But yeah, I just thought I'd give you an update on the Dulcitones. I think I've found a way of creating tines. I think I've a way of creating springs. And I think it's going to be a huge step forward to getting these actually playable. But yeah, that's it for this time. I'll see you soon.